Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Sophie Erber. President Donald Trump has yet to officially concede the election to now President-elect Joe Biden and is saying the election is far from over. President Trump maintaining that illegal ballots in key states helped Biden win. Morgan Wright reports now in our top story at 5.
What Donald Trump is doing is downright dangerous.
Maryland Senators Chris Van Hollen and Ben Cardin say they want all the votes from the election to be counted, but it's clear that Joe Biden will be the next president.
What Donald Trump is doing is aiding and abetting the enemies of democracy.
Legal issues should be that are legitimate should be litigated. But to date, we haven't heard of any basis for a legal challenge.
Senator Cardin says he wants to see a smooth transition of power, but has concerns over roadblocks from the president. So far, General Services Administration isn't releasing funds to the Biden team to pay for transition planning.
I am the ranking Democrat of the committee that has oversight over GSA. We're investigating what options we have.
In the meantime, the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, alleges widespread election fraud.
But in almost every state where President Trump had a lead going into the end of election night, some of the leads looking almost mathematically impossible to undo with the 5%, 10%, 20% of the vote. In almost all of those, this practice was followed. And I'm right now trying to find, did we get to see any ballots that we used for that purpose? If that's the case, then we have a massive nationwide lawsuit.
And on Twitter, the president maintains he won the election. In Washington, Morgan Wright, KCAU 9 News.
Meanwhile, as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the projected winners in the race for the White House, Harris making history as she would be the first woman of color to serve as vice president. Here in Siouxland, the president of Unity in the Community says barriers are being broken and glass ceilings being shattered tonight, saying that despite political viewpoints, it gives women a clearer path to equality serving in government.
This is great across the entire nation for all women, all people, especially women of color. This signifies hope and I always say a fearless focus.
Coming up tonight at 6, KCAU 9 News reporter Lydia Vasquez shares what it means to more Siouxland women. A city employee convicted of rigging wastewater treatment tests has been sentenced tonight. The former shift supervisor, Patrick Schwartz, will face 2 years of probation, including 2 months of house arrest. He is also being fined $5,000. Schwartz pled guilty to conspiracy and knowingly tampering with monitoring that is required under the Clean Water Act. According to officials, these falsified tests polluted the Missouri River and threatened wildlife. The tampering persisted from July of 2012 through June of 2015. Authorities tonight identifying the victim and the suspect in a grim Sioux Falls murder. 41-year-old Lamont Dion Walker has been arrested and is now facing charges for first-degree murder. This after authorities found the burnt body of 22-year-old Sivon Robert Karlstrom in a ditch near Brandon, South Dakota. According to an affidavit, Walker, Karlstrom, and a woman tried to commit at least one robbery on Friday night. Walker then drove them out of town. The woman told investigators that Walker beat Karlstrom before shooting him and starting the fire. Walker is also charged now with kidnapping and raping a second victim. An Iowa teenager has died of his injuries after being hit by a car. It happened just after 6 o'clock on Friday night. On the 3900 block of 5th Avenue in Esterville, 16-year-old Deshaun Hoffman was traveling west on a bicycle. That is when he was hit by 66-year-old Gary Clymer, who was also traveling west. According to police, 911 was called after a climber flagged someone down to report hitting the bicyclist. Hoffman was taken to a local hospital for treatment and then later flown to Sioux Falls by helicopter. He then died of his injuries on Saturday. This incident tonight is still under investigation. Turning our attention now to the latest coronavirus numbers here in Siouxland. Woodbury County health officials recording 110 new cases in the past 24 hours. More than 8,400 county residents have tested positive since the pandemic began. Meanwhile, Plymouth County tallies more than 2,100 cases. In Nebraska, Dakota County has 34 new positive tests today, the county adding to its total of more than 2,700 positives. And in South Dakota, Lincoln County reports 77 new cases, the county there totaling more than 3,600 cases of the virus. Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts tonight tightening DHM restrictions following a spike in COVID-19 hospitalizations over the past 6 weeks.
We will require 6 feet of separation from organizations that, such as gymnasiums, bars, restaurants, churches, and so forth. That's going to be in the directive health measure that you must keep that 6 foot of separation. In a business where you have close contact between customers and patrons for 15 minutes or more, masks will be required.
Attendance at extracurricular activities will also be limited to family members. The DHM goes into effect on Wednesday. In regards to wearing masks, Ricketts is still against implementing an overall mandate, instead pushing more education on when and how to use these masks.
I think what we have to do is continue to educate people about when you use a mask. Certainly, in our DHM, we are requiring it in places where you've got that 15-minute contact of close contact. But we want people to understand how to use that. It's a tool to be able to help slow the spread of the virus. That's not our only tool.
Ricketts adding that those other tools include frequent hand washing and social distancing. The governor again encouraging people to work from home if at all possible and limiting their shopping trips. Meanwhile, Pfizer, one of the corporations spearheading the development of a COVID-19 vaccine tonight, releasing some hopeful news. They say early results are showing that their current shots may be up to 90% effective against COVID-19. That puts the company on track to apply later this month for emergency use approval from the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA. Pfizer has estimated that 50 million doses of its vaccine could be available globally by the end of this year, which could cover about 25 million people since it has to be given in 2 doses. Well, it's time tonight for our first check on the weather. Meteorologist Marcus Beasley standing by. Marcus, a tale of 2 Siouxlands. We went to bed last night with beautiful weather. I had my windows open, and this morning we woke up to rain that in some places, at least my phone said flurries or possible mixed precipitation.
That's right. A little bit further to the northwest, a little bit of ice up that way as temperatures a little bit cooler during the overnight period. But here in Sioux City, actually our high temperature for today recorded, believe it or not, 66 degrees. That was at midnight. So our temperatures actually, they've been cooling off all day long as that cold front has been moving through the area. And you can actually see to the northwest where that blue is, that's where the cold front was at midnight. But now the cold front, it slid off to the south and east. So we are seeing those cooler temperatures. Chilly tonight, temperatures below freezing. Details on that in the 909. Sophie?
All right, thanks a lot, Marcus. We'll check back. And for the first time in more than 30 years, the Siouxland Chamber Dinner and Auction is moving online. At a press conference this afternoon, the Siouxland Chamber of Commerce announcing their online auction and their virtual event. According to the Chamber, the focus of this year's event is to support local businesses who were directly affected by COVID-19.
We're really wanting to focus on supporting our local businesses because there's been so many restaurants and retail outlets that have been affected. And so this is one way that we knew that we could support those businesses.
The auction is not yet live, but you can go to the Chamber's website to preview these unique items. After 120 years in business, an iconic Sioux City store is closing its doors. Thorpe & Company Jewelers, founded in 1900, and after 4 generations, the current owners, Rusty and Karen Clark, are retiring. For the next few days, the store will be closed to inventory and then mark everything for one final sale. That sale officially begins on Thursday, November 12th. Many Siouxlanders might be looking forward to decking their halls for the holidays, but one designer has been preparing for this his whole life. Find out how his small business made it all the way to the Capitol coming up.
And it is looking like we're going to have a snowy Tuesday in store, with temperatures staying on the cooler side. This weekend, though, we will warm up a bit. Details on all of that after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Sophie Erber and meteorologist Marcus Beasley. This is KCAU 9 News at 5. Is KCAU 9 News.
Welcome back. Well, the holidays are coming soon. Many Americans say they're looking forward to decorating their homes. Kim Vickers spoke to one local designer who's been chosen now to help decorate the People's House for the 2nd year in a row.
Roberts, owner of Southern Traditions Floral and Gifts in Swainsboro, began his career as a decorator when he was a teenager. He says when he was chosen to help decorate the White House last year, he was shocked.
I almost cried because it's something I've wanted for a long, long time. And It was my second year applying, so I didn't get in the first year. The second year I did get in, and so I was just almost ecstatic. I just stared at the screen when I got the email for the longest time, thinking it was unreal.
The process to become a decorator for the White House is an involved one. Applicants must also send in photos of their work.
Well, usually in August, they open up applications through the White House, and you have to send in an application. And when you send in the application to the White House, then they go through a screening process, and it's very strenuous, and there's lots and lots of applications that go through.
Roberts is very humble about being chosen 2 years running. Michael Seward is the owner of Signature Interiors and Gifts in Evans. He says that being chosen once, much less 2 years in a row, is career-changing.
Well, I moved from Washington, D.C. in 2005, so knowing the D.C. area and what that does, that is going to put him on the map for bigger and better things, not only in the Augusta area, because that's going to be very important to people, but on his level, he's going to be able to reach out to so many more people. They're going to come to him. He doesn't have, this is the best advertising you could get.
Seward says the magnitude of this opportunity is huge for Roberts.
Well, it's huge. I mean, not only on a national level, but on an international level. I mean, everybody pays attention to the White House, especially now and at Christmas, as well, because it's always beautiful, and it's America's house.
Roberts encourages anyone who is interested in applying to decorate the White House for Christmas to do it.
Well, live music, one of the first casualties of coronavirus, of course, but country artists getting ready to take back their stage. A preview of the CMAs after the break. The music industry was one of the first industries to shut down and one of the last to reopen because of the pandemic. But as Stephanie Langston reports tonight, the award show will give many the opportunity to do what they love once again.
It's 2020, anything goes.
But the show will go on. The 54th annual CMA Awards uniting the genre's top musicians with their true love, the stage.
No, I'm not going to be nervous. I'm going to be really thankful I'm going to be on that stage.
Let me make one thing clear. From the superstars to the newcomers, most haven't performed for a live audience since March.
All of us entertainers hate this year. We hate this year. We can't do what we do. We're ready to move on, and it has crushed a lot of people that just can't survive it, can't get by.
The year has been far from typical, with virtually the entire touring and live music industry dark. But the artists didn't stay silent, writing, recording, and releasing music and connecting with fans in innovative ways.
I think this year is obviously crazy for all of us. I think that we are all more humbled and more honored for music and the power of music.
It's the music that unites us, and a celebration like this that will give the artist a taste of normality while touching viewers across the country.
I love that we get to celebrate. There's been so much amazing music that's come out in the last year, and it deserves to be celebrated in whatever way that we can. And I think God bless technology and different ways that we can all bring it to people. And I'm excited, again, just to be a part of it in whatever form or fashion it is.
And for all the country music fans out there, the 54th Annual CMA Awards will air on November 11th. Taking a live look outside right now, Marcus returns right after this short break with another check on our forecast. First, this look outside right now in Storm Lake. Before we wrap up here at 5, let's check in first with Tim for what's coming up at 6. He's in the newsroom. Hi, Tim.
Hey, good afternoon, Sophie. Upcoming tonight at 6, Sioux City leaders looking to get the U.S. Transportation Administration, I should say, to go ahead, give a thumbs up to an agreement between Sioux City and SkyWest Airlines to bring service to Chicago and Dallas full time back to Sioux City. That airline already providing service to Denver, so looking to expand there. Elsewhere today at 6, as COVID cases climb, 2 more Iowa prisons are reporting outbreaks. 254 of the cases at a facility right here in Siouxland. Across to Iowa, a dramatic spike in prison numbers this week. We'll take a closer look at what's happening in Rockwell City at 6. And some better news, the college basketball season just getting started, but one team is already making a positive impact in its community. We'll tell you how coming up in just an hour.
All right, thanks a lot, Tim. And a quick check on the weather overnight. Chilly.
Yeah, we're going to see that rain transition to a little bit of wintry mix tonight, with a chance of snow looking very likely for the area tomorrow.
So get ready. All right, thanks, Marcus. And thank you for joining us. I'll see you back here tonight at 6. Until then, have a great night.